Perfect. Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Montclair City Council meeting. And we usually begin the meeting with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'll have the city clerk introduce those two individuals.
The invocation tonight will be given by Diana Delgado of Chaplain of the Streets, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilmember Lopez.
All right. Please stand.
Hello, everybody. Praise the Lord and Merry Christmas. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, as we conclude this final council meeting of the year, we pause with thankful hearts. Thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to serve our community, for the wisdom shared, and for the progress made. Even during challenges, we acknowledge the blessings you have bestowed upon our city and its people. We ask for forgiveness in our shortcomings, both seen and unseen. Grant our mayor and council members wisdom to govern, to do what's right in your sight. Help them to listen to all voices, finding common ground, and prioritize the needs of the people. May their decisions reflect fairness, compassion, and commitment to the common good for everyone. Bless this meeting tonight. Bless our leaders, businesses, and families. May this city find favor in you, O God. As we look to 2026, I pray this prayer for you. I pray the Lord bless you, keep you, the Lord make his face shine upon you, and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. We pray in Jesus' name. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you.
Please join me as we recite the pledge. And before we do, please keep in mind those service members overseas that cannot be with their families this Christmas season. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And can we get roll call, please?
Councilmember Mendez. Councilmember Lopez.
Here.
Councilmember Rue.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Martinez. Here. And Mayor Dutray.
Here.
Thank you.
Before we go on presentations, I just want to begin by stating that obviously we want to remember our friends in Australia for what they're going through in that tragic event. Obviously in Brown University, there's another tragic event that took place over the weekend. And this is obviously, I think, a special season we have here during the month of December, where really people come together, families come together, friends come together, and really celebrate one another as we end the year and begin a new year. And of course, if your faith is also a celebration of the important things of each of our faiths. So I just want to say to all of you, to your families, to your friends, on behalf of myself, my wife Ann, and my family, we want to wish you, everyone here, a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, and a Happy Kwanzaa. May it be peaceful, safe, and wonderful. So now we will begin the presentations of the community, from the Community Activities Commission. This is for the 2025 Holiday Day Decoration Contest Program. And I don't have a script, just to let everybody know. So I'm going to ask, I believe, the CAC chairperson, Rosa Rangel. Are you the chair or are you the moderator for today?
Vice Chair.
Huh?
Vice Chair.
You're the vice chair. Okay. I want to ask my council colleagues to come on down here.
Are you ready? Okay. Good evening. As Vice Chairperson of the Montclair Community Activities Commission, it gives me a great pleasure to announce the winners of the City of Montclair 27th Annual Holiday Home Decoration Contest. There are always many outstanding nominations, and again, This year was no exception. As always, the judging was very difficult. A total of 16 nominations were received this year. The commission tries to give everyone an opportunity to be selected. Therefore, past winners are not eligible for 3 years. On December 8th, the CAC drove throughout Montclair and judged every entry. We applaud everyone for doing an excellent job of enhancing our neighborhoods during the holiday season. After I read a brief description of each home and show a PowerPoint presentation, I will ask the winners to come forward to be presented with a frame award certificate and a gift card they choose to a store or restaurant in Montclair. The Torres family home, located at 4910 Howard Street, shines with an extra touch of holiday magic, featuring a vibrant array of decorations for visitors of all ages. The entire house is beautifully illuminated, and guests are warm welcomed by Santa Claus and their reindeers on the rooftop. The sled and the reindeer, the Ferris wheel, and train add a heartfelt touch to the display because they were all crafted by Jesse Torres 15 years ago for his twin daughters, who are now 17 years old. Just behind the train, a beautifully arranged nativity scene invites admiration for the whole neighborhood. Mickey and Minnie Mouse also join in the festive fun, greeting visitors beside a Christmas tree and in front of the yard. I'd like to invite the Torres family to please come forward to accept their All About Christmas award.
Family here? Come on up, don't be shy. Who did all the hard work? My husband. Your husband? Okay, very good. Well, I want to give you guys a plaque with a picture, and then there's an envelope in the back of the plaque. All right, let's put the envelope in. Back there. Right there.
A house that truly stands out in the is the Flores family home, located at the 9917 Pradera Avenue. The entire exterior is wrapped in glowing lights, creating a warm and festive welcome for everyone driving on the street. As you approach, you are greeted by a playful scene of a reindeer and a snowman enjoying a game of frisbee, instantly adding a charm and fun to the display. Just beyond them, a glowing reindeer family brings a gentle, heartwarming touch to the yard. At the center of all, Santa Claus proudly smiles at the whole neighborhood. Every detail, from the lighting to the animated characters, was thoughtfully arranged and beautifully brought to life by Jose Flores, whose creativity and holiday spirit shine throughout the entire display. The Flores home not only lights up the neighborhood, but also spreads joy to the whole who passes the illuminated house. I'd like to invite the Flores family to please come forward to accept the Light Up the Holiday Award.
Don't bite it. No. Okay, Brown ball's out of hand.
Finally, visitors are greeted by bright lights and friendly faces at the Gonzalez family home at 9932 Geneva Avenue. In the Gonzalez family front yard, children are invited to drop off their wish list at a special letters to Santa mailbox. And in return, Santa sends a letter back adding a magical personal touch to the holiday season. Mickey and Minnie Mouse can be spotted in several areas, spreading festive cheer across the display. The neighborhood can also admire Santa Claus and his reindeer. One corner of the yard showcases a charming It's a Small World inspired display, beautifully detailed and full of color. Throughout the yard, visitors are greeted by cheerful Disney and Pixar characters who bright smiles and bring joy to all who stop by to view. Scenes from the movie Up make an appearance as well, adding a heartfelt ride to the beloved adventure. Visitors will also find a variety of princesses, Tinkerbell, Sleeping Beauty Castle, Toy Story characters, and many more familiar faces throughout the yard. The Gonzalez home offers a magical blend of holiday spirit and childhood wonders that creates a display that delights both kids and adults alike. Would the Gonzalez family please come forward to accept this? Congratulations. Congratulations to all the winners. eh, Members of the community are encouraged to view all of these homes. A list of all the winners is available this evening and will be available this week at City Hall and at the city's website and Facebook page. Please try to view these beautiful decorations and holiday spirit exhibited by the residents of Montclair. This concludes my presentation, and I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you very much. State that I appreciate, again, all the hard work from the three families that came here, and I appreciate the hard work of the Community Activities Commission to do as well. So this is a good time. If you wish to stay, you're welcome to stay. If you wish to leave, this is a good time to leave at the same time. So we'll give you a minute or so before I get started, but thank you. We will now go on to public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the City Council on any of the consent calendar items or any item that's not on the agenda. You have 5 minutes. The public hearing items, there's 3. They'll be dealt separately for public comments. If you wish to address the City Council on the items not on the agenda, under the Brown Act, we can't discuss it. Obviously, we can discuss any of the items in the consent calendar. If you wish to address the City Council, if you haven't done it already, there's a blue cards as you enter. You fill those out, and you'll be able to submit that to staff in order to speak at this time, including for public hearings if you wish to speak on the public hearings as well. Okay, City Clerk, do you have any speakers?
I do, and first I have a written comment that was submitted earlier today. So I'll go ahead and read that, and this one is from Henry Fung. So Councilmember Ben Lopez must resign after being found liable for sexually harassing 2 city employees. It is a shame that Montclair has to shell out millions of dollars already in legal fees and settlements to the 2 employees, which will never be recovered from Ben Lopez. It is even more unfortunate that Montclair residents will be forced to gather signatures and that a special election will be called for another 6-figure amount in order to get this guy out of office. Montclair has already done all it can by restricting him from City Hall and restricting him from contacting individual city employees. He has no power. He is a hypocrite for attacking the LGBTQ community, yet trying to be intimate with 2 of the members of the community. He has been judged not credible by a court of law. He is a poor representative of the city and its 37,000 residents, and he needs to go now. And that's the one written comment. And then I have 2 cards. The first one is for Alice Garcia to speak.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and neighbors. My name is Alice Garcia. I've been a resident of Montclair for over 20 years, and I'm also the mother of one of the plaintiffs in the recent case against Councilmember Ben Lopez. When my kids were younger, I always told them, speak up for yourself. Even if it is a person of power, do not let anyone walk over you. Don't be afraid. Be respectful, but stand your ground. I promised them I would always have their backs. And so for days, I sat in that courtroom and watched my son do exactly what I raised him to do. I watched the plaintiffs do the hard thing and tell their truth in open court. But I also listened as Mr. Lopez refused to take accountability. I watched him blame everyone else. It was despicable to see a leader in our community show absolutely no remorse for the pain he caused. The court saw the truth. The judge found him liable for sexual harassment. More importantly, the judge made specific findings of fraud, oppression, and malice. This wasn't a mistake. It was willful and cruel. Even at the punitive damages hearing just this past Friday, he was asked repeatedly if he was sorry, and he refused. He would not apologize to the victims, and he would not apologize to this city. The city of Montclair has already paid out over $550,000 of taxpayer money to cover for this misconduct. That is money that should have gone to our parks, our police, our roads, but wasted on the actions of one man. Mr. Lopez, you have cost this city its reputation. You have cost the taxpayers over $500,000, and you have cost my family our peace of mind. A leader who acts with malice and bleeds the city budget has lost the privilege to serve. Please do the right thing for Montclair. Resign. To the rest of the city council, I know you have already censured Mr. Lopez, but clearly a piece of paper is not enough. In light of this court verdict finding malice and fraud, I am asking you to amend that censure immediately to be as strong as the law offers or allows. Strip him of every committee assignment, remove him from every regional board, revoke his travel budget. If he refuses to resign, you must strip him of the privilege of representing the city in any capacity. And to my son, I want you to know that I'm your biggest cheerleader. I have your back, and I love you so much. I won't stop until everybody knows what he's done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and our final speaker is Bruce Culp.
I'm sorry that you guys are having to go through this. I can't believe that we have a council member up here that would destroy a family like this. She's a beautiful family, raised her son right, did all the right things, and then somebody comes up immediately gets elected to council, and the first action he does is sexually harass 2 employees. Probably didn't get to the sexual harassment training. Not that would have helped. He was ready to go as soon as he got onto the council. Can't believe how disgusting that is. You need to resign. You need to man up and you need to resign. Obviously, he's going to chicken out. I'm glad the truth came out. That's the one thing about our courts, is the truth always comes out. These are facts. They can't be disputed. The judgment can't be reversed. You know what you did. Everybody else does. Everybody on this council knows what you did. And they've censured you. They've stripped you of your committee assignments. They've done everything that they think they can do so far. I believe there's so much more that can be done. Obviously, you have a financial judgment against this city, so you already have a conflict of interest on anything that comes before this council meeting. So you're going to have to recuse yourself from any vote of financial interest that comes to the city. I think the council needs to immediately, as soon as they get back to action and done with public comment, need to make a motion to strip him of any vote that he can make regarding any financial interest, because obviously he has a conflict of interest. He owes the city a ton of money, all right? He doesn't need to be here in person. I remember one of the victims coming here every week, providing great information to the residents and the rest of the council. He's no longer here. He can't come here because who knows what this guy's going to do if he comes here, all right? So I think he needs to not come here in person anymore. Bill Rue's attended many of these council meetings remotely. That needs to happen the same thing. You guys need to make a motion to make sure he doesn't come here anymore, that he takes all council meetings remotely. We need to get this money back from him. These judgments need to be enforced by the city. The city needs to work hard to make sure that that money's getting. If he's not going to resign, then I think we need to, as these judgments and these court cases continue, we need to ensure that every time he attends another city council meeting, that is penalized. He needs to be financially penalized for every council meeting he attends. Anything he does regarding the city needs to be penalized and added on to the court costs. Put a lien on his property, for the full amount. Force him out of the city. You guys need to do stuff outside the box. I know you're trying to stay within the law or whatever, within rules, but sometimes it takes a little outside the box thinking, especially near election time, We need to change some election rules. The city has the ability. They already have a rule that you must be a city resident, so add some more. Make sure that anybody asking to be elected or reelected must not owe the city any money. Make sure they can't have any judgments for sexual harassment against any city employee. Put that on the books. Make sure he can't run again, all right? Annex his property outside the city so he's not a resident anymore. Think outside the box. Think of something you guys can do to keep this guy from running again. He doesn't represent anybody. All he does is he comes up here, pretends he feigns interest in city matters just so he can look positive to people who don't pay attention to what he's doing. I ask you guys to take immediate action to get rid of this guy immediately. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And do we have any other speakers?
I have no more cards.
Okay. Okay, before we go into public hearings, I'll move up my mayor's communication part of it. So in spite of the Brown Act, since this is not an agenda, I'll keep my statement short regarding the Lopez case. Many residents have asked me what actions City Council can take following the recent court ruling in favor to Montclair employees in the city involving Councilman Ben Lopez. And under California law, this council does not have the authority to remove a member. The removal can only occur through regular elections or voter recall through a citizen initiative. A council member also can voluntarily resign, which I felt in 2022 and today is the best course to avoid further liabilities, cost, and embarrassment, and to protect our city employees. This, however, is unlikely. What has the City Council done under California law to protect our employees and recuperate our costs? And again, in April 2022, the City Council adopted resolution number 22-3344 that censored Lopez after an investigator confirmed the employee's allegations made in mid-2021, which this council reviewed in closed session with the investigator in March 2022. The censure resolution includes protective and other actions restricting Lopez's conduct as a council member. These restrictions remain in place after even his reelection in 2024. Section 5 of the resolution consists of a list of protective and restrictive measures, and these are as follows. And you'll find there's copies of the resolution if you want. But under Section 5, page 3, states the City Council hereby ratifies protective actions implemented and taken by the city manager, and further, the City Council hereby orders the following additional measures. Under A, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but under A, that Councilmember Ben Lopez is removed from all appointed City Council committees, and that's still true. C, that Councilmember Lopez shall refrain from one-on-one contact either on a personal, professional level with employees of the City of Montclair. Under G, all interagency email and text communications from Councilmember Ben Lopez should be directed to only the City Council colleagues, the City Attorney, the City Manager, and the City Clerk for the purpose of council agendas. Under I, Councilmember Lopez is prohibited from city paid and non-paid travel to conferences, meetings, training, and other events where representation of the city is involved. And then, of course, under I, all ratified actions that in this resolution to remain in place until otherwise rescinded by the appropriate authority, which is the council or the courts, and nothing has been removed or rescinded at this time. All actions that I just mentioned, everything in Section 5 that I just mentioned, did not mention, continue to remain in force. In 2023, the council filed a cross complaint seeking to recover $550,000 to pay it out to settle the employee's lawsuit. The court tentatively ruled that Lopez must fully reimburse the city $550,000 plus all court and legal fees. The court has also assessed additional penalties, fees against Mr. Lopez for approximately $178,000. A final ruling from the judge on how costs may be recovered expected next month. I'm just going to ask the city attorney, the information I just provided, is that correct, or do you have any corrections for my comments?
No, those comments are correct.
Thank you. So I want to ask that at the following future city council meeting, one, that we meet in closed session, the city council at the January 20th meeting to discuss the Lopez, this particular court case, get an update and determine if further action is required by the council. And I'm going to ask that at a future meeting, the city manager provide an updated report from 2024 that provides the total legal costs expended by the city related to this case. And I'm going to ask that we get a motion. Can I get a motion for these actions? I'll move it. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, a second. And can we get an electronic vote? Okay, that's adopted. So now we will go on to public hearings. We'll begin with public hearing item A, which is considered approval of projects prioritizing funding for the CDBG program. I'm going to open this public hearing item, and I'm going to ask staff to provide a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. For fiscal year 26-27, staff anticipates receiving an estimated $237,629 from the Community Development Block Grant Program, representing a decrease below the city's current allocation of approximately $248,457. As indicated on page 4 of your agenda packet, staff recommends funding for the following programs. $50,000 for the city's code enforcement program, $150,000 for continued renovations at the Reeder Ranch property, $29,000 for the city's graffiti abatement program, and $8,269 for operation of the Golden Express Senior Transportation Services Program. This represents a total combined amount of $237,629. No agencies outside the City of Montclair requested funding for the city's allocation in the public services project area. That represents $37,269. City historically uses its CDBG public services allocations for, as I've already indicated, the graffiti abatement operation of the Golden Express Transportation Program, both which are retained in the proposal for 26-27, as well as in the current allocation for 25-26. The fiscal impact for the city of Montclair is approximately $237,629 in monies received from the CDBG program for fiscal year 26-27. And staff recommends the council approve the prioritization of projects as outlined by myself and in the agenda report.
Thank you. Any members of the public wish to address the council on this matter? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Yeah, just a clarification on this. I believe we had CDBG funds funded for Reader Ranch, but time was running out and we had to move the money over to the alley projects.
Yes, that was approximately $500,000, and there was a switch. So the $500,000 committed to the Reader Ranch went to alleyway improvements.
Right.
So the city does owe the Reader Ranch program
Right.
$500,000.
So we're just really not going back and reimbursing it. Okay. Any questions, comments from council members? If not, can I get a motion?
Actually, Mr. Mayor, I hit my button.
Oh, go ahead.
Mr. City Manager, you said 550,000 we owe Reader Ranch in funding?
Approximately 500,000, yes.
So this is barely repaying 150 of that.
No, this is 150,000 out of the CDBG money that is being committed, so that's still not a deduction from the 500,000 owed.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, I'll move for approval. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Lopez, we'll do electronic vote. That's adopted, 5-0. Okay, next public hearing item, I'll open this one as well. This is to consider adoption of ordinance number 25-1013. This is the oversized vehicle and attached trailers code. This is the second reading. This was heard 2 weeks ago as a first reading with a full presentation. At this time, I'm going to ask any members of the public who wish to address the city council. Okay, we'll close the public hearing. I'll bring the matter back to the city council. Do I have any members of the council, any questions, comments? If not, can I get a motion? Councilman Lopez.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, since I missed the last meeting, I did watch the video of the meeting and the presentation by Mr. Eckert. Is that your name? Eckert? Got it right. Okay. Didn't want to call you Jim. Yep, Mr. Eckert. So I understand some of the questions were addressed. I had about 5 or 6 of them. Some of them were addressed. I believe it was Councilman Mendez that asked with respect to the ability for a resident to apply for a permit for parking online. And I know in the staff report it stated that it was agreed to that there would be a function for residents to apply for parking permits online. But what I want to know is, was that language added to the ordinance?
No, that would not be a part of the ordinance. This is a function of staff putting together the permit program. We are looking at online application process, and that process we're looking at would allow that the license plate effectively serve as the permit. But we would be soliciting bids from various vendors, so we are, it is unknown to us right now what the cost would be. We don't anticipate it'll be more than $20,000. But once the council makes their decision regarding the ordinance, if that is the direction we're going, then we will pursue the online application process.
Question to Director Diaz. On page 7 of the staff report, under oversized vehicle complaints, in reading that paragraph, that in a year and a half, there was about 224 calls, complaints of large vehicles made to code enforcement or PD, to PD.
Yeah.
And I noticed that in the staff report, it alludes to RVs that are parked for long periods of time and then they accumulate debris and trash and human waste. Is there a homeless component to that code enforcement or police were experiencing?
Sometimes that's the case, and then when that occurs, the police work in tandem with code enforcement to see if they can offer resources to those individuals in there.
And was an area near Benson and Holt on the west side by the storage facility, is that an area that has experienced large vehicles parking overnight, long periods of time?
Yes, there have been, we've observed a number of vehicles from time to time on the Montclair side of,
right,
of the street, right, and they sometimes do stay for extended periods of time.
And in part, not necessarily in the totality of it all, but in part, is that area part of the reason this ordinance was drafted or kept in mind?
Not necessarily. It's a widespread condition that occurs across the city in different places, but usually it's in industrial or close to industrial areas.
I have another question with respect, it's on page 9, with respect to the 50-foot rule. I know that AB 413, did I say that number right? The AB 413?
Daylighting law, yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's the law that prevents parking near intersections from within a 20-foot range. So 20 feet back, they got to park, so they got to give space. I did hear the arguments regarding, and this is for only RVs, correct? This particular 50-foot?
Well, the 50-foot would apply to RVs, but the 20-foot applies to any vehicle.
Repeat that, I'm sorry.
The 20-foot requirement for setting back
yeah, that's state law.
applies to any vehicle, and then the 50-foot would be for the larger vehicles that might obstruct visibility. And we have Eckert.
So just to be clear, the 50 feet would apply to all oversized vehicles, not just the RVs. So that would include anything that's over the 7 feet in height, 22 feet in length, 7 feet in width.
It's 8.
So I'm visually trying to picture streets like, and I brought this up last time, for those that are predominantly residential homes near Orchard in Monte Vista, Benito in Monte Vista, San Bernardino, Monte Vista, Kingsley, Monte Vista, Howard, Monte Vista, and then, of course, those streets on the central side that have residential homes, not so much on the central side, but more so on the Monte Vista side. And Mr. Rue alluded to this in the comments at the December 1st meeting. If a resident has a family visiting and they bring their RV or motorhome, and let's just say they're in the middle part of the street, but parking is impacted, because that happens here in the city. Look at San Bernardino Street. If they're at 40 feet, 48 feet from the intersection and they park, they're technically going to be ticketed?
So they would, if they're parking in an area where they're not allowed to be parked, they are subject to getting a ticket. Whether or not a ticket will actually be issued would be dependent on a variety of factors, right? I mean, is enforcement going on in that specific area? Has there been a complaint that was filed about that? Is there a imminent life safety issue based on where they're parked and exactly what the size of this vehicle is? So all of that would be taken into consideration like in any type of enforcement action. But if the question is, would they be subject to a ticket? Yes. If they're parked within that 50 feet of the curb, then yes, they would, because it's a safety issue.
Because those homes that I mentioned on those streets, they don't have front driveways. They have to park on the street. I'm thinking of Orchard right across the street from Monte Vista Elementary. And I've seen an RV or motorhome of some kind on that street from time to time, not all the time. And I mean, I still have a hard time trying to restrict or prevent these people from parking there, especially if they're visitors to town and their family members. And my colleague brought this up, that this is the perfect time of year, Thanksgiving and Christmas, where this is bound to happen. I know, too, the comment was made that there are plenty of places for which RVs or large vehicles can park, that diesels and of the like, they park far and it works for them. But it doesn't work for a family that's coming into town on a motorhome or an RV, and you're going to ask them to park somewhere, perhaps on Benson Avenue, and then they got to get a ride and picked up or walk, God forbid, to the home on Orchard. Those scenarios could happen. So for anyone to laugh them off, perhaps, and say that they can't, no, they actually can. And I asked specifically, because I know I missed the December 1st meeting, but I asked specifically at the last meeting, and I believe it was the May 5th meeting, where I said if those issues or those corners would be taken into consideration. You wrote them down because you asked me to repeat those intersections, and I hadn't heard anything at that meeting on December 1st if any of those streets were looked at or any account was taken into consideration about those. I see Ms. Heredia is coming.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, staff, and residents. I have looked at some of those intersections. As a matter of fact, a lot of them already have red curves. They range between 10 feet to 20, 30 feet. There's a couple that have not, they don't have red curves yet, but they will soon.
To reflect the new AB 413 restriction?
Yes, And also, some of these intersections even have longer than that, or they have parking restrictions all along the street, not just the corners.
And unfortunately, though, that pushes them further into the center part of the street where the parking's more impacted and compounded. Take Kingsley, for example. We got apartments on one side and homes on the other, and with the advent of ADUs and folks renting out rooms, it's problematic. I still have a hard time with
Yeah,
that,
I
fathoming it.
understand, and it is, those areas are, yeah, parking is an issue. And then recently I received a request to have more of permitted parking. That's going to be an issue as well. So,
And the ordinance does allow for the RV to park within the same block as the residence might be. So there's room probably towards the center at time, and it's sometimes first come, first served. But if you're lucky, you're able to park right in front of your neighbor or your family's home. Other times you might have to be a little bit to the east or the west, depending on the conditions there.
Let me ask my
And to be
question
clear,
before I
just-
forget.
just-
Hold on, let me ask my question before I forget. They can park on the same block.
Yes.
But again, if it's the scenario where they're visitors into town, I mean, is the city going to ask for the address to match the registration? The home and the registration address have to match?
The person who lives at the home is the one that would be responsible for their relatives coming, being able to get a permit to park on the block to visit with their family.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to forget my comment. Go ahead.
So to follow up on both of those, with respect, kind of working in backwards order, is the applicant for the permits is always going to be the resident. So even if it's their guests who are coming, it's the resident who's going to be the applicant, and that's how it's going to be tied to the address. But what I was also going to say was that aside from being able to park on the block, there is an exception that if that's not feasible to be able to be done, then they are allowed to park elsewhere outside that one block. So there would be the possibility of them moving to the next block down if there's no parking that's available when they get the permit, but they are still going to be subject to those limitations as far as proximity to corners, because that is just a life safety issue, right? And I know that you weren't here, but if you reviewed it, hopefully you were able to see some of the slides that were being presented, and there were some where you could definitely see that the proximity of the big rig trucks or the larger oversized vehicles created a greater safety hazard than a 20-foot daylighting would allow for. So that's the reason why we are seeking a larger kind of daylighting area to allow for pedestrian safety.
And I'm with you. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, the situation doesn't change from what is occurring right now. So if I were visiting your family there, I would have to find a parking space that is available on the street. I don't get to park exactly where I always want to park. You sometimes have to park a distance away, and that's just the way it works out on any block anywhere in any city.
But we're assuming you're in an RV or a motorhome type thing, right?
And if you have the permit, you have the ability to park somewhere on that block.
And see, now I forgot my question. I'm with you on the diesels. I saw those pictures, and you documented that very well. I would also note that based on the pictures that were submitted, they seem like they happen on the southern end of town predominantly. And it's not happening in the residential neighborhoods or the northern part of town, north of the 10 by the plaza area. So I think it's a problem in the south, in the mayor's area. It looked like, State Street, Mission, those areas, because they're the old, all intents and purposes, the old farm properties and whatnot that were eventually fathered in or annexed in. So I don't see the 50-foot rule being, I don't think we should have it apply citywide. I would be much more in favor of having it apply to certain areas, because I don't think, well, if we don't have the problem, well, I know where you're going with this. If they know they can't park there, they will move to the residential area, and then I'll be having to correct my statement. I just think 50 feet's a little too excessive. I heard what you said about line of sight. I saw your examples, and I actually kind of doing what I'm doing now. Yeah, good point. But I think the state's requirement of 20 feet is good. I don't agree with it. I think people need to be more cautious and careful. I think people are paying too much attention to their damn phones and speeding instead of focusing on pedestrians around them. And that's why we have people getting killed in town like we did that little boy about 8-10 years ago. You won me over a little bit with some of the changes, but I still have some bad taste in my mouth, if you will. Let's bring up the issue about, as I saw in your presentation, you said there would be no ticketing of vehicles as long as they're in the process of delivery or working, okay? And then I heard that the statement was that the policy, the mayor inquired, if this would be more or less a pattern of enforcement or reactive action, and it was stated it would be reactive to calls. So we're not gonna have little, police out there going out and being, parking, for lack of a better term, Gestapo out there just being nitpicky about the thing. We're gonna be reactive. So that said, if there is no fit, if the people are in the building or in the house and they're setting up or moving furniture, let's assume there's 2 workers to do that, and the car's unattended, they technically can be ticketed, correct?
Not if they are involved in delivering or doing any of that sort of stuff. So if it's somebody who's, let's say, delivering furniture, and part of the delivery is the setting up of the furniture, that's part of the activity that they're doing. So they're not going to be subject to a ticket. That would be one of the exceptions. Just like if you had a service repair person who was there, who was performing services, repairing your faucets or your heater or some other type of thing, they'd be allowed to park there while they're doing that. If that's a 5-hour job, it's a 5-hour job. If it's a 2-hour job, it's a 2-hour job. I mean, it is whatever it happens to be for that particular job.
And the police department knows to give them leeway and inquire first before ticketing?
Yes, absolutely.
Discuss
I think
it
the
aloud.
general rule, the way for you to look at this is that if you see a work vehicle in front of a home, the police are going to drive by it. They're probably not going to bother it. If they see it there every day for a month, then there's a reason to be concerned, because then it looks like the owner of the home or the tenant of the home is operating a business out of the home, and that is what causes concern. But as a general rule, a work vehicle will be left alone.
Let me get to my 2 points, and then I'll condense what I was going to inquire about. To Mr. Diaz, was there ever a study or questionnaire, I should say, sent to any Montclair businesses that may have a home-based business or list their home as a business to see if they have a work truck that they use to conduct their business?
No, we didn't conduct a survey like that, but what happens is residents can apply for a home occupation permit, and they've been able to do that since I started my career in any city. And what the home occupations are allowed to do is set up office uses at their home. And one of the things we do talk about is using the house and maintaining the house as a home. So there's limits on the types of vehicles, the types of activities that can occur in these places before we could permit them. So we've had people ask for tow truck businesses out of their home. We've had people talk about a bunch of other things that would have involved big vehicles, and they were denied. They found a different location to do their business. And all I can say, almost 90% of all the code enforcement issues that we've dealt with on site typically have had 2 things in common. One is unlicensed, no business permit for anything to go there, no home occupation permit, the use of oversized vehicles, and typically some kind of situation that required code enforcement cleanup of the site. So, for example, we had a tile company that had the whole backyard full of tiles. And we got reports. Typically, we hear about these through complaints, and that's how we respond to them.
And then the issue about SUVs. So
Sorry, did you say SUVs?
SUVs, yeah. If I understand correctly, based on the discussion at the December 1st meeting, certain SUVs would be under a category of being a large vehicle, correct? And therefore, they would be prohibited from parking on the street?
I'm not aware of any SUVs that would qualify as an oversized vehicle. I haven't seen any SUVs that are over 22 feet in length, or that would, where the body of the vehicle itself would exceed the height or the width. I mean, I presume that, at some point someone could create such a vehicle, but I'm not aware of any out there right now.
So the measurement of the cars that you showed on your, on your presentation on page 4, those were just examples to say that those cars are not going to be touched by it. They're in the clear, they'll be able to park.
On page 4 of the presentation or of the photographs that were provided?
Your PowerPoint, sir.
Oh, those, on page 4, what that was to show the different sizes of vehicles that are typical, so everything ranging from compact to full size, and then showing our proposed standards to the left of that, showing that we are way in excess of even full-size vehicles. So for example, a full-size length would be 16 to 18 feet. We're not regulating until 22, still leaving plenty of growth, if you will. Same thing with height. The average height is 5.5 to 6 feet. Even with full-size vehicles, we're regulating at 8 to be oversized. And then 6 to 7 in width, and again, we're regulating at 8. So we're not hitting it right at the top of the outer limits of a full-size vehicle. We're actually going beyond that before we start declaring something to be oversized. So all of the things that you're seeing, and this is the screen that you were
Yes,
talking
yeah,
about,
yep.
all of these vehicles here would be perfectly fine. None of them would be regulated as an oversized vehicle because they would all fall underneath the restrictions.
And I was kind of getting at those that would be in between the graph and the 22
Would
feet
still be
limit.
fine.
They would be fine to park on the street overnight
They would
or
be.
whatnot.
Yes, assuming they're obviously parking in appropriate locations. Yes.
You measure from the tire up.
To the top of the body of the vehicle.
And what if they have raised tires? I mean, that's their problem, but I mean, it's not their fault either.
Again, the height of the average vehicle is about 6 feet high, and we don't start regulating until 8 feet. So, I mean, I guess if they add wheels that add an additional 2 feet, you know, they'd still be fine if they're right at it, but once they go over it, yeah, they'd be subject to the regulations.
What type of notification are we planning on giving residents once this is adopted?
We're planning on just working on an education campaign first. Once we get the process set up for the issuance of RV permits, we'll do a campaign that utilizes our website, maybe a mailing and our utility bills, the use of the exhibit screens on the building around town to get, and then probably a grace period, a breaking in period once we start. So we intend to do a full education campaign. So.
And there will also be some signage that's posted at the main entrances into the city as well.
Are you talking like the roving signs that PD uses or what?
I
Temporary
believe a
signs?
combination of permanent signage as well as I know there was discussion last time about using some of the electronic.
Okay, the one that PD uses. I would prefer we mail in the notices because most people that get their bill read that information. So I think it would be
That's
better.
one of our.
Will be included in utility billings, yes.
I think so. All right.
And we would also have articles in the community newsletters that we send out annually.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate your time for
A
answering
lot
the
of this
questions.
was discussed 2 weeks ago at the council meeting, but I'll just reiterate what I said there. What did I say now? I lost my notes. I know that we talked about a public education campaign. We go out and do the public campaign. I know that the city manager as a city manager to have some discretion for really minor stuff and provide some exemptions that perhaps it needs to come back and modify in the code. I asked that the Public Work Committee, which Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Martinez and myself serve on, that we update us. And then if changes are required, or at least an update, come back to the council at a later date. I think the most important thing here is we're not going to be proactive. We're going to be reactive on this one. We're not doing the street sweeping stuff with PD and the cadets. We're going to really respond to complaints from residents that we get, and then we're going to respond to what's considered to be serious health and safety issues that we have on the streets and resolve that. I know that there are some cases out there with large vehicles where the operators of large vehicles are playing games. They played the 72-hour game with us, the street sweeping game with us, and so we need to go in an extra step now to get some better compliance. So I'm going to move that we adopt ordinance number 25-1013 to be declared by a second reading, be read number and title only, and include the comments I just made Also made at the first reading. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Mendez. Let's vote. Okay, that's adopted.
Go ahead and read the title.
Please.
Ordinance number 25-1013, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Montclair amending Chapter 8.02 definitions and adding Chapter 8.38 parking of oversized and recreational vehicles and unattached trailers on public streets and highways of Title 8 Vehicles and Traffic of the Montclair Municipal Code.
Great. So we will now go on to this third item, C, which is the adoption of ordinance number 25-1016. This is regarding the adoption of the building codes. This will be a second reading. Again, we had a presentation at the last hearing as a first reading. I will open the public hearing. Any members of the public wish to address the council? Come on up. I just think you have to announce your name.
Yeah, I'll announce my name. Sorry, I didn't fill out a card. I happened to look at the agenda. Paul Kilsmeyer, I'm a resident and homeowner here in Montclair. Being in building, working with Mr. Diaz on many projects, not only here in the city, but on my own house. And I do know that the building codes are very voluminous, and that's why the packet agenda was stripped down, and then there was a narrative in there. So there was multiple things highlighted. But my question just to staff is any of these that you know of related to healthcare facilities? Or is it more on the residential side to do with the solar, the ADUs, et cetera, like that?
Building official, if okay, maybe
Mary, come on down, Mary.
address that.
The bulleted points that I put did have ADU notifications because they are notable changes. And what I put in there was just the changes that were more notable than the last codes. So there are healthcare portions of the code, but I wasn't aware of anything that was a notable change in it. Was that what you were asking? Okay. So there wasn't anything that was a change that was substantial to the codes.
Okay. Thank you. You have anything else? I didn't start your 5 minutes, but I will now.
The reason I ask is because a lot of cities are getting surprised, and I wanted to bring this to the planning and building department. Last year, AB 2085 was passed by our state legislation, which actually overrides the city input on healthcare facilities. I've just made myself aware of this over the last 60 days, done a lot of research on it, but what it's being used of primarily, Mr. Mayor, is Planned Parenthood has done an end around in cities. Right now, they did an end around in the city of Fontana, and they are building a 5,300 square feet murder mill on the corner of San Bernardino and Sierra. And it is in 2 years ago, city of Fontana rejected all the building permits because it did not meet the master plan and the zoning codes, of which I was fortunate to be a part of the master plan here in the city of Montclair a little over 20 years ago, so I'm familiar with how we make our zones and we have our different areas, and a lot of that's come to tuition, what we worked on all those years ago for what we have going on the north side. But AB 2085 has taken away the city's ability to manage healthcare facilities. So when I saw this on here, I just wanted to ask, it's something you might want to take a look at it because they're railroading over the top and unnecessarily killing babies. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's also taking away local rights, local city rights. So, but, that's, believe me, I get frustrated with Sacramento too. But any more public speakers? I'll close it. All right, Mr. Lopez.
Yeah, may I call up, please?
Come on up. Come on down, Mary. By the way, I appreciate the job that Mary's been doing in the billing division, and I think we have a new chief billing official.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We'll be introducing him on the 22nd of next month.
Perfect then.
Thank you so much.
A question. On page 22 of the staff report, those bullet points. I just wanted confirmation on the third bullet point and the fifth bullet point. The third deals with solar panels. The third deals with electrical vehicle charging stations, basically. Those are, I'm sorry if I went too fast.
I'm
just realized-
sorry.
Nope, I'll
Okay,
wait.
I'm there.
I'll wait.
The electric-ready infrastructure required for new commercial kitchens. Oh, the third one, sorry.
The third.
Increased requirements for solar.
Solar panels and then the electric vehicle charging stations. So I just wanted confirmation. Those are state mandates put on localities, correct?
On localities, yes.
And we're just basically conforming our existing codes with the state requirements.
Right, but our existing codes, when they adopt them, the state, California state codes, then these are the changes that will be occurring. So yes, they're a state code, but they are applicable to our city.
Okay. I just wanted that clarification because I want the public to know that these are not mandates that we as a locality are putting on per se.
Well, not directly, the state is putting them on.
Right, that's it.
Yeah, we don't have choices in a lot of them.
That's what I'm getting at.
Okay,
Thank you, Mary.
welcome.
Thank you. All right, can I get a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move the item as presented.
Okay,
I'll second.
second. That's adoption of number 251016, be read by number and title only.
Yes.
Second by Councilor Rue. We'll go ahead and vote. Mayor Pro Tem Martinez is not here. She's absent. So it's adopted 4-0 with one person absent. We'll go down to consent calendar. How about my right? Anybody on my right want to have a consent calendar item or items? Nobody on my right?
No.
Okay, how about my left? Anybody on my left?
Yes, I would like to pull C2 and C3 just for a
All
simple
right,
question.
C2 and C3. Okay, why don't you go ahead and lead off?
Just the question, I guess, would be to Monica. Monica, I noticed on both of those agenda reports, it talks about that there are 5 pre-qualified engineering firms that these letters are sent out to, but on both of them, only 2 engineering firms responded. So just wondering who the other 3 engineering firms are?
I don't recall, because this was done a long time ago, but they were from our pre-qualified list of consultants that we had completed an on-call services RFP.
Okay. And
Don't know the names. I can't think of the names right now.
maybe we should look into some additional ones if they're not responding, is just my only question.
Well, as you can see, we didn't get a big response. All civil engineering firms are very busy with a lot of projects. It's a busy time for those type of consultants. That's why we only received those 2.
Perhaps you can go to send a council an email, just let them know what other firms applied.
Yeah, I can follow
And
up with
then,
that and
you
send
know,
you the list of all the
Yeah,
of all
perfect.
of our
And the points and all that, so,
consultants.
perfect, thank you.
Sure.
Is that all you have, Xavier? Councilmember Mendez, Councilmember Lopez?
Yeah, for Monica, sorry. This is the item that's a one-year contract, right? If I read correctly?
Which item are you
This
referring
one,
to?
the agreement with
C2?
respect to TKE Engineering?
C2, C3?
Yeah,
Or
C2. So,
Yeah, it's for the design
Okay.
of the project.
And that's what I was confused about because it says design and construction.
Right, so they'll probably help us with when we go out to bid. So that's technically the
Prepare.
construction phase, so
They
they
prepare the
they'll
construction
assist
plans
us
as
with,
well, that's what it
they'll
is.
assist us with any questions, any technical questions with the plans or specs.
And the reason why I was asking was because normally construction takes longer than 1 year. That's why I brought up the
Correct.
one-year contract. But is there an option for us to, or well, maybe they may not
Yeah,
even want to extend that? They can always amend it, I suppose, and ask for more time.
Yeah, we could do that, so we don't have to come back to council and extend the council. It is subject to changes by the city attorney. I think she will agree with that. So we can extend it maybe another year. We'll extend the agreements an extra year, just so we don't have to come back.
Where are
to
you seeing
council.
construction? They're both listed as just engineering
It's
services.
just on the, yeah.
Well, it's in the language on page 45 of the staff report, under background, the second paragraph, it states, I'm reading the second sentence, "The general scope of the project includes the design and construction of pedestrian safety enhancements," et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if there was construction involved, is 1 year ample time? That's where I was going with it. But if it's just the design, I think
No,
that'd be fine.
That's all it is design.
It is just design. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think, well, we'll move on. Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Martinez, did you have anything from consent calendar you wanted to discuss? All right. Can I get a motion on the consent?
Mr. Mayor, I will move adoption of the consent calendar as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved by Lopez, second by Rue. We'll do electronic vote for the last time. Okay, that's adopted. We will now go over to communication. City Attorney.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got 3 items as indicated on the agenda, all 3 for asking the council to meet in closed session. 2 are regarding potential litigation, and the third one is regarding the pending litigation of Ibanez versus Montclair.
Thank you. City Manager.
No items.
Thank you. I just want to first of all say to staff, great job on the Holly Jolly and Dashing Through Montclair. Holly Jolly, to me, was probably the biggest event I think we've held. Am I correct, Marcia?
It was spread out over
It
more
was spread out,
hours,
yes. But I think as far as attendance, probably the biggest one. Yeah, it was, I want to commend staff. That was a really good event. I mean, last year was also a very good event. You just did it better this year.
Thank you.
And then, of course, Dashing Through Montclair, Chief, Chief's not here today, but the captain's here today. But I know the police department plays a big role in this one. I know the amount of work that goes into it to make this happen, along with Marcia's team and, of course, the fire department participating in public works and IT. And then I just want to recognize, too, about a month ago, we had some jerk in our city that decided to do donuts in the Saratoga and Alma Hoffman parks, right in the grass. And I just want to announce that within a day or 2 days, PD knew exactly who it was, where it came from, had to disrupt the vehicles. It helps we have cameras in this town. And that individual, I understand, has been detained. He caused about $30,000 worth of damage, but I just want to recognize PD staff for, I know it's small, donuts are small, but it was in our park, it caused damage, and these parks are important to our city, and I'm tired of people coming here and doing damage to our parks when it belongs to our kids. So good job, PD, and I appreciate the officers, the investigators, the WSET team, to really be proactive. And unfortunately, the jerk I'm talking about is also a Montclair resident. Maybe it's time for him to move out of Montclair and go someplace else. I will now go to council. I'll start with council, Mayor Pro Tem Martinez.
Sure, thank you. So I will second that as to the Holly Jolly and the Dashing Through Montclair. I feel like this year we got more smiles during the Dashing Through Montclair than we did, people rolling up their windows as we drove by. So I think that's a good sign that people are happier this year, maybe. And Holly Jolly was a huge turnout. I got a lot of comments that the food trucks were a big bonus. People go to that event right after work, and it's nice to have some food there. And I heard that the kids were there starting, 2:30, lining up around the area, and it was just a really good time. The CAC Holiday Home Decoration Contest, myself and Councilmember Rue are the 2 lucky enough to serve on that committee, and I just want to acknowledge for the residents who are unaware how much effort they put into the Holiday Home Decoration Contest. It is a huge endeavor. They separate the city of Montclair, they drive around and nominate the houses. We all get together and we're chauffeured in a big bus around the city while we look at those houses. And it's really fun, but these are people that volunteer their time to the city that really love our residents and love seeing all the happy holiday cheer around. I just want to say to the Garcia family, your speech is absolutely beautiful. I am right there with you, supporting you and your family. I will keep my comments to a minimum tonight just for Brown Act's purposes, but I promise you, you have support. And to everybody, happy holidays, and I hope that your vacations are wonderful if you have them. Even if it's just for a weekend, spend some time with your family if you can. And happy holidays, whatever you do celebrate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First of all, Monica, thank you for the sucker. Where's Monica? Thank you. A couple items I forgot to do. We need to, for the last public hearing item regarding the building codes, we need to read the title number only. Go ahead, Andrea.
Okay, sorry, this is a long one. Ordinance number 25-1016, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Montclair amending specific chapters of Title 10 of Montclair Municipal Code and adopting by reference the 2025 edition of the California Administrative Code, the 2025 edition of the California Building Code, Volumes 1 and 2, including Appendix Chapters B, I, P, and J, the 2025 edition of the California Electrical Code, the 2025 edition of the California, oh, that was in there twice, 2025 edition of the Fire Code, including Appendix Chapters B, B, C, and H, the 2025 edition of the California Green Building Standards Code, the 2024 edition of the International Property Maintenance Code, the 2025 edition of the California Mechanical Code, the 2025 edition of the California Plumbing Code, and the 2025 edition of the California Residential Code, including Appendix Chapters I, H, and AX, together with certain amendments, additions, deletions, and exceptions, including fees and penalties.
Thank you. And then the second item is we were going to cancel the January 5th, 2026 meeting. Is there any objections to that? If not, that's so ordered. So our next council meeting will be on Tuesday, January the 20th. Now I'll go with Councilmember Mendez. I was just passing you.
Thank you. Just a few things. One, yes, the December 4th tree lighting ceremony, which I still call it, I know it's the Holly Jolly event, was a beautiful, wonderful event. I loved all the snow. I actually threw a couple snowballs and got reprimanded for that. But, you know, that was fun. I enjoyed the snowballs and the little sled area for the kids. That was really neat watching that. Something else, the next Saturday was the Dashing Through Montclair, and that was really nice. Carissa and I sat in the back of a truck and drove around probably about 15 miles and threw candy, and that was fun and enjoyable, especially them trying to catch the candy. But lots of fun, lots of people came out. We had multiple stops, I think like 5 stops, and at each stop there were always people there to take pictures with Santa and the Grinch. We had the Grinch there also, and that was really nice. And I know the police department did a great job, you know, putting, you know, your people, you know, there. And Ventura was really excited to be on a motorcycle. I watched him because he used to be a motorcycle officer at one time, and you could see he hasn't lost any of his skills, and enjoyed that. So thank you again for doing that. And I know Jason gets all the credit, but I know Brian, I know you did all the work. So also I go to all the planning commission meetings too. And the reason why I go is because I told all the planning commissioners when I left to become on council that I wouldn't abandon them. And they said, you know, come and see us every now and then. So I haven't missed one yet. And I think they enjoy that I'm there. But a neat thing came about that I was there, and the Chino Basin Water Conservation District came out, and they're planning on doing some new park area for kids around the backside of the Wilderness Park. And I know if you've been here in Montclair a long time, like myself and like Bill and I know John, originally that park was called Mini Bike Park because they needed a place for mini bikes back in the 60s and 70s. And after that kind of blew out, then they called it Nature Park for a while, and now Wilderness Park. But yes, the Chino Basin will be doing a new area over there, which will be nice. The holiday home decorations, wonderful. I know people love to decorate, and I love to decorate too, and I haven't done it, yet, but I'll be doing it soon. One year I'll be doing that also. But again, everybody did great, and the CAC did a great job with that. And happy holidays, everybody. Peace on earth, because definitely we need some peace on this earth. And I hope everybody has safe travels, whatever they do, and gets home safe. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Lopez.
Yes, on that note, this is the holiday season for those, this is actually the second night of Hanukkah. For those that are celebrating, those are Jewish residents and family members and extended family members and those in the region that are celebrating, happy Hanukkah to you. And of course, the significance of Hanukkah dates back to the Maccabees in the battle that I believe it was the Greeks that attacked the Jewish Maccabees, and they only had oil in their temple to technically last one night. Miraculously, it lasted 8 nights. And ever since then, the Jewish families, the Jewish culture has celebrated and commemorated that by lighting 8 nights worth of candles and exchanging gifts and doing song and eating food with oil. So they do eat food that is cooked in oil to commemorate the oil that had lasted so long. So to all those celebrating, happy Hanukkah. But let's also keep in prayer those folks that were suffered at the hands of brutality in Rhode Island, at Brown University, and in Australia. It is sad that some would attack others for their simple religion. It is sad. We will have our hearts and minds and thoughts with them. And of course, those that are celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. This is our last meeting of the year. All God's best to you. You and your families have safe travels. If you plan on staying local, please shop the malls, dump a little money in our malls and eat at our restaurants and whatnot. We could use the investment here, as always, and buy online. I think we're still getting a good amount of online dollars, but nonetheless, what's that? We're not? Oh, well, then by all means, start buying online, folks. We need more online dollars into the city. But anyhow, Merry Christmas to you all. I will offer a brief statement, and I do know first and foremost that I cannot control what people think of me, and that perhaps anything I say will not change many people's minds, and that is fine. This has been an ordeal for everyone involved. I said this in court. Most of the stuff I'll say tonight, I have said in court.
Excuse me, Ben, before you go on, Diane, I know the Council of Communication is supposed to be brief remarks, and so, Ben, could we make sure we'll probably have an agenda on this in a future date if you wish to make a long statement or a formal statement on the item, but we just have to be careful of the Brown Act, because if you say you speak, then that does mean another council member cannot speak, and we have to be real careful of the Brown Act. Diana, can you opine on it, please?
Yes, the communication time is, for what you've mentioned, for Brown Act purposes, a brief report on something you have done, a question for staff, a request that an item be agendized. If it goes into an area that the council might take action on at some point, then it definitely should not be discussed unless it's agendized. I don't know what Mr. Lopez has, Councilmember Lopez has.
Well, let me ask a point of information or a parliamentary inquiry, if you will. The item that was approved earlier for the January 20th meeting for a closed session item and discussion. It's my understanding, because it is a closed session item, I would not be allowed to discuss anything about the issue, even though.
Right, it would be a
So
closed session item, and you wouldn't be part of that. But I think another part of it was to come back at the following meeting for a report of.
I think if it's a closed session item, I know members of the public can discuss closed session items, so I would assume if a council member wants to state something in the public, and it's on the agenda, they can state it at that time, if I'm correct.
They can comment
Yeah,
on
they just can't-
something that's being discussed in closed
We
session.
just can't
I was
discuss what's going to be discussed in closed session, but if a member of the council or a member of the public wants to address the council, I believe they can do so.
That's true.
So maybe that's the more appropriate time. If it's okay with you, we can make sure, that's the time. If you want to make some real brief remarks, I understand. I make some comments myself, but I just want to make sure it doesn't go too far out, and then we'll open up a can of worms.
Well,
That's it.
regardless, I feel as though my hands are tied. And me not being able to make the comments that I feel are appropriate to make, unless you're saying I can make them at the meeting in January.
You can, any member of the public and any council member can make comments on something that is scheduled for closed session. The public has a right to do that, and you have no less rights than a general member of the public. You can't participate in the closed session item, but you can make comment upon it.
Well, I will say this then. It is no secret, based upon what was filed in court, that I have maintained my innocence with respect to the accusations. I understand a ruling has been handed down that says to the contrary. That said, and having stated that I can't control what people think of me, what I will say is this. To anyone who feels I have harmed them, hurt them, etc., actual or perceived, my apologies. To the city, I don't think the city should have been drugged into this matter at all. And I guess I can expound at a future meeting if that is more appropriate. But I will,
Excuse me, no, this is council communication.
and he's
Thank
had
you.
his moment, and I didn't interrupt him. There's matters that I feel, there's circumstances that have happened in the past and happen currently that I know full on are done in a way to make it look like me, be me, use of photos, use of information. I have police reports showing over threats and obscene materials sent to me filed in December 22. I have bank statements showing where we actually were able to reverse some fraud use of my accounts concerning questionable websites. I have them here in front of me. I guess at another time we'll bring that up and clarify that. But the most important thing, to anyone that feels that I've wronged them, my apologies. And with that, I guess my hands are tied. I'm not able to go into anything further, so
Well,
I'd
we'll be
like
able
to.
at the next council meeting, it's on the agenda. If you wish to have a full discussion, you can do it at that time.
But anyhow, thank you. Hope you all have a very Merry Christmas, and hope this chapter behind us is fully closed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rue.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did have something prepared for tonight, but in light of the hour and the fact that we have 3 closed session items, I will not read it tonight. The Christmas tree lighting went very, very well. Thank you to the staff who participated. Thank you to our Community Activities Commission for helping to put it together. You did a fantastic job. I was giving out hot chocolate and cookies with Commissioner Diane Wells. It was a rather cold evening, and we all just pushed on through because that's what the families expect. I know the letters to Santa were very busy. I know many people participating in it as volunteers love doing it and will continue to do it. I was unable to attend for the first time ever, the Dashing Through Montclair. I was a bit under the weather and did not want to be in a position where I might give something to somebody, so I erred on the side of caution and stayed home. We have a wonderful tradition in this whole region. There are many, many ways we celebrate these holidays. Whether it's Kwanzaa, whether it's Hanukkah, whether it's Christmas, whether it's some other tradition, they're all special. They reflect you, they reflect your families, they reflect who you are. I think tonight of many of our families who will be working on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Not just our law enforcement, not just our nurses and doctors, not just those who may work in the telephone office or something of that sort, but we have many people who will be working retail, grocery, fast food, restaurants, logistics. Take a moment and thank them for their labor. Thank them for caring. Thank them for being there so that you can have a good Christmas. We have in our community many of our seniors who are struggling right now. It is not a great economy for them. And yet, in spite of that, if you talk to them, if you look at them, they still see Christmas through the eyes of a child. That magic doesn't. I think if the 20% of our families who live at or below the poverty line, they're not a burden to this city, nor should they ever be thought of as that. They're a strength to this city. They stand as an example of people who work hard, rear their children in tremendous difficulty, and yet stand tall with dignity. I think of all those in our community who are among the last, the least, the lost, and the lonely. Let us try to be with them at this holiday season. And to all of you, no matter what the tradition is, no matter how you celebrate it, may there always be peace in your homes. Thank you.
We'll go into closed session.